How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, an animated visual book summary by Alexander Sandalis. How to Win People to Your Way of Thinking, Chapter 3. If you're wrong, admit it. Dale Carnegie was walking his dog through a parkland, and there was a policeman there. The policeman caught him with his dog without a muzzle and a leash, because it was illegal in that park. The policeman approached Dale. He said, "Don't you know it's against the law?" Dale replied, "I know it is, but I didn't think it would do any harm out here." The policeman got aggressive. You didn't think? The law doesn't give a damn about what you think. That dog might kill an animal. I'm gonna let you off this time, but if I catch you out here again without the muzzle and the leash, you're gonna be in trouble. So he promised to obey, and the next few times he did, but next time he was out walking with his dog, he didn't have the muzzle and the leash. He saw the policeman again, but this time Dale was the first one to break the conversation and say the first word. He exclaimed, "Officer, you caught me. I'm guilty, red-handed. I have no alibis, no excuses. You warned me last week that if I brought my dog out here again without a muzzle, you would find me." So after Dale said that, the policeman responded in a softer tone, "Well, now I know there's a temptation to let a dog out here run on its own when nobody's around." Dale replied, "But it's against the law." And the policeman replied differently. He said, well, a little dog like that isn't going to harm anybody." And then Dale was like, "No, but it may kill animals. It may kill a squirrel or something." And then the policeman responded, even more surprisingly, he said, "I think you're taking this a bit too seriously." He said, I'll tell you what, you just run over the hill a little bit and where I can't see you, and we'll forget all about it." So initially, when the policeman first encountered Dale and he was more emotional trying to enforce the law, he just really wanted a feeling of importance. So when Dale began to condemn himself, the only way the policeman could nourish his self-esteem was to take the magnanimous attitude of showing mercy. Instead of arguing with the policeman, Dale admitted the policeman was right and that he himself was wrong. And the key to this was his authentic nature. He was open and he did it quickly and with enthusiasm. If we know we are going to be rebucked, isn't it far better to beat the other person to it and do it ourselves? Isn't it much easier to listen to self-criticism than to bear condemnation from alien lips? Say about yourself all the derogatory things you know the other person is thinking or wants to say. And say them before that person has a chance to say them. The chances are 100 to 1 that a generous, forgiving attitude will be taken and your mistakes will be minimized. Because there is a certain amount of courage to admit one's errors. It not only clears the air of guilt and defensiveness, but often helps solve the problem created by the error. So the example I want to give you is of a YouTuber fitness entrepreneur named Brandon Carter. Brandon created a video that I've never seen anybody create. He basically was having a lot of people make things up about him. You know, that he was on steroids, talking a lot of shit about him, as you get with the territory. But Brandon created this video in kind of response to all of that in a way where he just went ahead and labeled all his weaknesses, every reason why you should not like Brandon Carter. He gave them a reason to, and he did this for 23 minutes. I've never seen anybody create a video like that. He did it authentically, and he was able to exercise this principle perfectly. So here it is, take a look.
If you do want to make a video talking shit about me, I just want to make sure you don't leave anything out. So I want to just tell you everything. So that while you're doing your research, let me just make it easy. So for starters, I was at a gay wedding, man. One of the dudes had a regular suit, and I guess the other dude, he was the bride. He had a motherfucking silver suit and a purple, silver and purple suit. That's, it was no big deal to me. It wasn't, it was kind of, when they said kiss the bride, they didn't say kiss the bride, he said something else, right? And I kind of like looked away, like, so that was some shit like, maybe I'm a bigot, maybe I'm a bigot. That's something I need to address myself, so maybe I'm not as liberal as I thought. But anyway, that's a good reason not to hate me, or to not like me. Then there's, what else? Oh, I put a lot of like girls in my videos. I know some people don't like that, I put a lot of sexy girls, half naked girls, twerking and shit, doing booty, and like kind of perverted, like I'm kind of a pervert. You know what I mean? That's a good reason not to like me. I curse a lot. That's another good reason to like me. I cannot say a fucking sentence without cursing. It's a problem. I don't know why. Maybe it's the way I grew up. Product of my environment, and I haven't made an effort to change it or do better.
Any fool can try and defend his or her mistakes, and most fools do, but it raises one above the herd and gives one a feeling of nobility and exaltation to admit one's mistakes. And that's exactly what Brandon Carter just did. A famous author named Elbert Hubbard was an individual who would often stir a lot of resentment and anger and emotion in many of the people who read his work. Also, when an irritated reader wrote to him saying they didn't agree with something he said, Hubbard would respond in this tactful way. He would say something like, "Come to think it over, I don't entirely agree with it myself. Not everything I wrote yesterday appeals to me today, and I'm glad to learn what you think on this subject." So he had the humility. You need to have the humility to drop your ego and basically say, you know what? Not everything I say is going to be correct, and things I say in the past may not be true today. He's not looking to pick a fight, but instead he's looking to learn and get better. He's dropping his ego, which is a challenge for many of us who are dogmatic type A personalities. He dropped the ego and he basically said, you know what? I might not be right. The same thing Brandon Carter did when he labeled all his weaknesses. When we are right, let's try to win people gently and tactfully to our way of thinking. And when we are wrong, and that's going to be often, as long as we're honest with ourselves, let's admit our mistakes quickly and with enthusiasm. This technique will produce astonishing results than trying to defend oneself. Remember, by fighting, you never get enough. By yielding, you get more than you expected. Principle 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. If you've made it this far through the video to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you know. It's really important to me that you follow me on social media, but only if you actually intend on watching and or reading the content I produce. Do not subscribe just because you think I'm okay. Hold yourself to higher standards to only learn from those you think you can attain great value from.